Okay, so recording started. Hello, friends. Greeting. Uh, Today is the session number 6, the last session for sustainable supply chain subject. Yes. So this was a 2 credit course. We had a total 10 different topics in this subject. We went through in the earlier 5 sessions that we have had so far. Okay, so in the session number 6 today, what we are going to do is we are going to have an overview of the 10 topics that we went through, kind of a short revision, you can say. And then in the session, in the second half of this session, we have to discuss about these sustainable development goals, SDG, which are given by the United Nations, the UN, and what is their relevance to sustainable supply chain. So, what the intention of me discussing these SDGs is basically after going through this subject, we want uh, you know to be able to start contributing in the any sustainability initiatives, or take up any or lead any sustainability initiatives, because as we've already discussed multiple times, how important is it to work towards sustainability and have that mindset always that in whatever activity that we do, in whatever small day-to-day activity also that we do, how it is impacting the environment, how it is impacting um, socially, what is the economic impact of whatever I'm doing. So all these aspects we need to keep in mind whenever we are performing our duty as a responsible citizen of this world. This goes beyond your country, beyond your state, city, etc. But as a citizen, as a global citizen, it is our responsibility, uh, ethically and morally, to conserve the environment, save the environment, and think about sustainability in everything that we do in our day-to-day life. To start from saving water, saving electricity at home or office or anywhere. So, and in the last session, as we discussed, start small to for any such initiatives. So, let me share my screen. This particular presentation that I've had for our session number 6. I'll give it a moment so that my screen loads. Yes, I hope I'm audible, I'm visible, and my presentation for the final session is also visible. So, hello again. Let us start. So, sustainable supply chain subject. We are going to go through our final session, which is course recap. We will go over the topic 1 and topic 1 to topic 10 on a high level. to see what we actually went through. And then the sustainable supply chain global connection that I want to establish through the sustainable development goals, the 17 goals that we have from the United Nations. So these session objectives are something like we want to recap the topics 1 to 10. We want to reinforce some key models, tools, and practices. We will have some discussions on those practices and tools as they come up during our recap. And we will also explore how sustainable supply chain supports the UN's Sustainable Development Goals in the second half of the session. All right. So sustainable supply chain, again, the definition, if the overview we want to take, it is the integration of environmental, social, and economic objectives into supply chain activities. So sustainability, we had discussed that it is comprised of three pillars or three blocks, which is social, environmental, and economic. So also this is termed as triple bottom line up foundation or triple bottom line approach, which is the three P's represented by people, planet, profit, which is nothing but the social aspect of sustainability, environmental aspect of sustainability, and economic aspect of sustainability. Sorry, tongue twister. Yeah. So why it matters? Because sustainable supply chain improves compliance, it enhances brand image, it reduces costs through efficiency, and promotes resilience and innovation. So we discussed in detail in our topic 1 on what is sustainability, what is sustainable supply chain, what is a supply chain basically. And then from that we started discussing on why is it important, what are the different aspects of sustainability, whether it is in part of procurement function only, in manufacturing only, in logistics only, or when we say social sustainability aspect. So what is the meaning of that? What all factors are covered in that? Like um, creating a safe working environment for our team in the company, the laborers that they are working, we should have humane treatment for them and fair wages for them, then lower of health hazards or any kind of safety, occupational safety hazards for employees, and we enhance community engagement initiatives through our um, that our company and the community has. So community per se may mean the immediate local community that you have around your factory, or for the greater good of the society if we take up any initiatives through CSR, which is corporate social responsibility, or any um, community benefit program, if we launch any social activity we get involved in or support as a company. So those will be covered under the social sustainability aspect. Under the environmental sustainability aspect, we reduce chemical waste and gas emissions, we decrease the energy consumption, we increase awareness about sustainability from the environmental aspect in our supply chain. And then economic is the profit foundation, that is the greater value addition um, for the consumers and for the in general for the sustainability of the business. So you as a business also have to survive, also have to sustain it for a long term, right? So you want to increase your profit. What does one of the aspect of increased profit is? How can we increase profit? The simplest job is to increase your prices. You can do nothing and just increase your price and expect that people will still buy the same amount of product from you, and then you end up making profit. But that is not as easy as it sounds, right? Because as there is a whole lot of market dynamics comes into picture whenever you increase price. If you increase price, your competitors may still be on the same lower price band, and naturally the consumers would are not which are not loyal to your brand, or which find that your uh, increased price is not actually the actual value that they are going to get out of your product. They will naturally shift to your competitors, and then uh, getting a consumer back from a competitor is very difficult if you have some knowledge about how the market works. So then if we cannot increase profit or the sales price, what can we do? We, in the existing sales price, can we increase our margin? How do we increase margin? We reduce our operational cost. So I think you have had finance subject also, wherein the variable cost, the costs of the product, costs of goods sold is also fixed and variable. So the fixed cost is your utility cost, your facility cost, your human resources, etc. Variable is something of sorts of your raw material pricing or any variable costs that are included in that. So if you reduce your operational cost, naturally in the same revenue, your margin is going to get increased. That means your profit is going to get increased. And how do we reduce our operational cost? We reduce cost through efficiency. We imbibe lean. We reduce waste, all the waste that involves or downtime, whatever way you call those waste. We reduce. We increase our efficiency, etc. So all these measures will help us reducing operational cost, and that means increasing profit. So all these aspects, people, planet, profit, or social, environmental, economic, are covered under sustainability. And whenever we integrate these objectives into our day-to-day supply chain activities, whether while we are selecting a supplier, while we are auditing a supplier, while we are designing a product, while we are designing the logistics network of the product, designing the logistics or distribution strategy for a product, etc. Any activity related to supply chain, when we integrate the environmental, social, economic objectives, it becomes a sustainable supply chain activity. Right? So all these things we covered in the topic one. Our topic two was environmental life cycle assessment. So it is a tool to assess environmental impact across a product's life from raw material extraction to disposal. So how to start with sustainability, or how to imbibe sustainability into your mindset or your day-to-day thinking, is considering it from the life cycle point of view of a product. So whenever we think about sustainability, always start from the source of okay, where this bottle has come from. So if I take this product, basically, I want to work towards sustainability. LCA, or life cycle assessment, is a tool which will help me guide, or which can work as a framework for me, or a starting point for me. So I will start assessing the whole life cycle of this product in the beginning. So what is the um, raw material that I'm using for this particular product? Let us say this water bottle is a product that I have. So what is the raw material that I'm getting? So this bottle is made up of metal. Let us say it is metal made up of steel. So where is the raw material coming from? So how it is getting extracted? Is it getting extracted in some kind of mine? Do we have that kind of traceability? Then if I do not have any kind of that kind of traceability, I will because directly I won't know. I would approach my supplier naturally, from whoever I'm getting the raw material from. I will ask him that where are you getting this raw material from? Then he will have some source. That source will have some source, and eventually you may reach to the actual mine from which this metal was extracted. So you want to have that kind of traceability. Then what all activities are these suppliers doing in between? So my supplier does something on, he is getting maybe sheet metal or rolls of metal from some other supplier. But what does that roll supplier do? So you try to analyze the complete product life cycle, whatever visibility that you have, you can gain, because this could be a never-ending activity, but still you want to limit it. That project you want to limit it either to tier 2, tier 3, based on the timelines and the visibility that you have decided for your project. Then what does my supplier do? Then how does that product get to me? What do I do? What all activities as an OEM I am performing on this raw material of the bottle to get it into shape and have this complete finished product? Then how this product is going to the distribution center from my manufacturing facility? How is it getting used? How is the consumer using it? And once the consumer has used it for a time, maybe the life of the bottle is complete or it gets damaged, how the customer is disposing it, whether he is scrapping it or can we recycle, reuse it. So that is the complete product life cycle thinking and approach that we have to take whenever we do a life cycle assessment of the product. So first we have to define the goal, scope, the stages of LCA. We'll start with defining the goal and the scope of the life cycle assessment. So in the goal, what we will do that, okay, we want to focus on these types of raw material. And also in each stage, what we did was we did a kind of inventory analysis that, okay, in this particular stage of the product. So let us say processing stage of the product at my supplier end. So he is getting some sheet of metal from his supplier. So and then he is doing some cutting operation at his facility and bending operation at his facility. And then whatever is the preformed small part, he's supplying it to my facility. Okay. So he does these two operations. Let us consider. So what is the input? So if he consider his complete processing operation as a block, we have to think of what is the input to this particular operation and what is the output of this particular operation. So what is the input of this particular operation of processing is the raw material that he is getting from the sheet metal supplier. So that raw material plus he does some kind of energy consumption. So he is using the cutting machine, some kind of electricity is used. He is using the bending machine, some kind of electricity used. So that energy is also an input. Then he does his operation using those inputs. So the transformed resources and the transforming resources he is using in that transformation process operation, and then he has the output of the small part which he is supplying to me. Plus, along with that, what are the other outputs? Different types of emittents, either soil pollutant, air pollutant, some gases, some kind of waste material, some kind of, you know, uh, wasted resources, etc. So those are all the outputs. So that is the complete inventory analysis for that particular stage. So this way we have to do inventory analysis of the whole life cycle stages. So from resources, processing, manufacturing, distribution, use, end of life, or all stages, whatever information that we get hold to, means it is possible that I wouldn't know from where my supplier T4, T5 supplier gets the raw material from, etc. And what my consumer does with this bottle once the use is complete. I won't get that information easily, and even if I get that information, it won't be that much reliable. It won't be 100% correct, right? So I do this life cycle assessment for every stage, and then we do an impact assessment. So in impact assessment we see that, okay, in which stages, which are the outputs related, which are impacting sustainability in a negative way. So whether it is impacting the environment in a most negative way, which are the stages in the life cycle of my product which are contributing to the most in this total negative impact. So whether during processing I am emitting the most greenhouse gases or air pollutants or soil pollutants, or during manufacturing or during distribution, logistics, or during use, etc. So I'll do an impact assessment of individual stages on where is the highest impact, and also I will ensure that if I have to negate that impact, means I have to reduce that impact, what kind of actions can I take? And then in the interpretation stage, based on these classifications that we have done. So in impact assessment, we also do classification, whether it is related to greenhouse gases, whether it is related to acidification, different categories we went through during the session of LCA. And based on that, we generate some kind of action items that, okay, during manufacturing, we are consuming the maximum amount of electrical energy. So let us focus on this particular stage and how we can reduce the electricity consumption in this particular phase. So that is one action item or goal that we have taken. So through this environmental life cycle assessment, we will assess the environmental impact across the product's life. And once we have that impact assessment done, based on the impact, we will decide that which area to work on. In a go, you may not be able to start working on each and every area, but you want to start small, wherein the impact is the highest. Because some of the challenges of sustainability, we saw that it is a high cost, it may be a high cost endeavor sometimes. It takes time, it takes a lot of collaboration with a lot of stakeholders, and that's why we always start small, so that we also have some kind of proof point which we can use to convince the other stakeholders who have not yet started along with us on this journey of sustainable supply chain. Okay. So decision making for greener materials, manufacturing, packaging, logistics, etc. are some of the uses of environmental life cycle assessment. So that was our topic 2. Sustainable procurement was our topic 3, in which we focused only on the procurement function, which we wanted to turn into sustainable procurement. So what all activities do we do in procurement that we discussed? What are the principles in sustainable procurement, such as transparency, fairness, ethical behavior, stakeholder engagement, etc. Those were discussed in detail. Some of the key drivers for sustainable procurement could be regulatory compliance, as we already know that maybe procurement related regulatory guidelines are there, that you can only do business with people who have um, this particular fair trade license or fair trade certification, or you can only select people, suppliers with ISO 14001. So there may be regulatory compliances also required, which you have to, comply to. And then you have market competitiveness. Well, if you have consumers demanding a sustainable products, you partnering with sustainable stakeholders, then and your competitors also going in that direction, then that is also one of the drivers for you. Then risk mitigation and innovation. Yeah, risk mitigation. So how do you mitigate risk? Because sustainable procurements means that you will have uh, um, a supply chain which is agile, flexible, and it is resilient per se. That means any disruptions, if they are there in the supply chain, you are easily able to handle it. You are able to manage it. So that is one of the risks, and how we um, achieve that through sustainability is because sustainability asks us to source from ethical sources, um, um, rethink on our dependence on whether we are dependent on only one source or some source which can easily get disrupted because of geopolitical issues or any kind of external factors. So when we have transparency, fairness, we ethically behave, etc., and we engage with our stakeholders, that means our network is also strong, because we were able to develop this after the sustainability initiative, or towards making our supply chain sustainable. We became transparent, we became fair, etc. So all these things reduce our risks of supply chain disruptions. So in a way, sustainable supply chain will also help you mitigating a lot of risks that we have with supply chain disruptions and innovation. Naturally, if we want to reduce the environmental impact, if you want to reduce the economic impact of our products, of our business operations, if we want to increase the positive social impact, definitely we would want our teams to help us achieve those initiatives or goals with innovating new business operations sometimes, innovating new products, new ways of, moving your product, new ways of, making your products, etc. So those are also some of the drivers which will eventually help you transition into a sustainable procurement function. Example is, which we already discussed, that selecting a supplier with ISO 14001 or fair certification. So these are some basic things which you can immediately start working on towards making your procurement function sustainable. Then sustainable manufacturing was our topic 4, wherein the focus areas were energy and water efficiency, pollution and waste reduction, green chemistry and cleaner production. Green chemistry meaning whatever chemicals that you are using for your particular operation, uh, whether it is manufacturing, assembling, service, etc. So you want to use chemicals which are not harmful to the environment, the use of which environment does not generate a byproduct or a waste which is not easily biodegradable, or it is harmful for the environment, etc., and cleaner production. So whatever are the benefits, sustainable manufacturing reduces environmental footprint naturally. Carbon footprint reduction is a part of sustainable manufacturing practices. Energy and water efficiency. So that means we are using only uh, the required level of resources and we are not wasting them. Then pollution and waste reduction naturally helps us conserve environment. Compliance with environmental laws naturally on facility level or a manufacturing factory level also, we have certain guidelines, some certain environmental laws, such as for a particular capacity, how much of a CO2 emission, how much of a greenhouse gas emissions do we have is allowed. So there are some laws around that. And if you have a sustainable manufacturing practice, you will definitely be in compliance with these environmental laws. Then improve productivity naturally. Sustainable manufacturing, we discussed lean, clean, and green manufacturing. So lean means improved efficiency, improved progress, productivity, etc. But there are some challenges with sustainable manufacturing, like high initial investment and supplier capabilities, definitely. But if we want to overcome that, we have to work as a team with our stakeholders and start small. High initial investment is there, but we through the environmental life cycle assessment, we first um, find out which are the highest impact areas, and then from the highest impact areas, which are the ones which are low hanging fruits, kind of with a low cost initial investment. We start with that, but still you will have to invest something into it. Then our next topic was digital technologies in sustainable supply chain. So we went through how Internet of Things can be used to track energy, monitor emissions in the real time, how we can use AI and ML, which is in our predictive maintenance, smart inventory, etc. So inventory management, uh, basic inventory management also we touched upon in the last session, number 5 that we had. That even if we do basic and smart inventory management in an effective way, we are making our supply chain sustainable in small part at least. Predictive maintenance, definitely AI can help us predictively maintain our equipments so that our either whether it is factory equipment or our product which we have sold to the customer, that can be used for the maximum amount of time and has low downtime. That is also making our sustainable supply chain. Big data informed decision making via sustainability analytics. So all the data that we have that is being gathered with the IoT devices, whether we are tracking energy use or monitoring emissions or any kind of sustainability related data, those details or that data is analyzed dynamically and using analytics tools, dashboards, etc., so that we can monitor and report out regularly our sustainability targets. Blockchain, we discussed about what blockchain is, and it is nothing but a digital ledger, but it cannot be tampered with in the supply chain, or the past records cannot be tampered with. What it brings is it brings transparency, traceability, and fraud prevention. So transparency and traceability meaning, because we want to make sure that our supply chain um, functions in a way, our sustainable supply chain functions in a sustainable way, that whatever we have decided that we will source from this particular source, which is sustainable, it is sourced sustainably from that particular source. And then this kind of logistics network that we are using, so these kinds of modes that we are going to use. So blockchain will help us with the traceability of that particular complete supply chain. What is the impact of digital technologies? It accelerates decision making and enhances visibility across the supply chain. So, the most important point in any supply chain, for any supply chain professional, is the visibility part of it, because he only has a limited visibility. If we only have a limited visibility in our supply chain, we are not going to make an impact on it. So with the digital technologies used, we can increase our reach, increase our visibility in the supply chain that we are driving or are part of. Okay. Sustainable logistics was our topic. Six. Yes, it was our topic six. So, and this being logistics and supply chain specialization, you would want to go through it again, the notes that I have shared, the presentation that I have shared, and also I would like you to read about it uh, and Google about it more, so that you have more understanding about sustainable logistics. So we, in under sustainable logistics topic, we discussed green logistics, which is optimized transport routes, fuel efficiency, EV fleets, etc., wherein we optimize the routes based on distance, plus also we do load balancing. That is load optimization also. That was something which we discussed in the earlier two sessions. Then fuel efficiency, we want to ensure that if we are not able to switch to electric vehicles, but the existing fleet, can we maintain it in a way that it is the fuel efficiency or the maintenance costs are low and high fuel efficiency is observed. And EV fleets is, trying to transform your transport vehicle fleet into electric vehicles or alternate fuel vehicles, so that our dependence on natural resources or fossil fuels reduces. And use of EV will also help you reduce air pollution. Um, as we discussed during the discussion of the sustainable logistics topic, that approximately 14% of the total environmental impact that we have, or the negative environmental impact that we have because of any activities by man, 14% of that is coming from the logistics activity or the transportation activity, whether it is we are transporting people or if we are transporting goods, whether it is sea shipment, air shipment, rail shipment, road shipment, or any other kind of shipment. All kinds of logistics contribute to an approximate 14% of the total impact on the environment. So that is why sustainable logistics is a key to making your supply chain a sustainable supply chain. The second point we discussed was reverse logistics, collection and recovery of used products. So reverse logistics meaning there are two terms, forward logistics and reverse logistics. So forward logistics is your part going to from your facility, your factory to your distributor. From your distributor, it going to the retailer. From retailer, it is going to the customer. That is forward logistics. And also, when suppose the customer or the retailer or the warehouse distributor, if they find any defect in your product or if there is a requirement that your product needs to be refurbished or repaired or anything, so that reverse logistics channel will now come into play, wherein the customer will uh, using that reverse logistics channel ship your product, used product back to your retailer. Retailer will send it back to the warehouse. Warehouse will send it back to your factory, wherein you can either reuse it, you can repair it, refurbish it, whatever is the activity that you have decided to do with it. You can do it, but only you will be able to do it whenever you have the reverse logistics channel set up. So that is one of the important aspects of sustainable logistics is to have a reverse logistics channel and then circular economy. So when you have a forward plus reverse logistics, it becomes a kind of circular logistics channel that is nothing but a closed loop system, a circular economy wherein reduce, reuse, recycle uh, philosophy is used. That circular economy, we reduce the raw material uses, then we want to reuse uh, the material from whatever that used components or products that we have received. We can see if we can repair them, refurbish them, or we can reuse or recycle them, so that the components or the metals from that particular return part we kind of use to make new products again and reduce our dependence on newly sourced or newly mined products. Okay, it is a closed loop system. So these three aspects we discussed under sustainable logistics, green logistics, reverse logistics, and circular economy. What is the outcome? If we have sustainable logistics, we will have reduced emissions. We'll have better customer satisfaction and cost recovery. So reduced emissions, we discussed that if we move to EV fleets, if we improve our fuel efficiency, if we optimize our transport routes, naturally the fuel consumption is going to reduce, and that means the emissions from the fleet are going to get reduced. Also, we'll have better customer satisfaction when we have reverse logistics, circular economy in place. That means the customers have a channel and they know that okay, if there is a service channel available for us, and if we actively deploy our manpower or the reverse logistics or the customer service part, naturally the customer satisfaction is going to increase. Cost recovery is more on the circular economy part, wherein we manufacture a good, we sell that good, and again we take it back and try to reuse it so that our initial investment is again recovered. So that way our operational cost will also go down, and that means our uh, profit bottom line, meaning the economic aspect of sustainability targets will also be achieved. Then our topic 7 was around designing a sustainable supply chain network. What elements should we focus on? What kind of tools can we use? And what is the goal basically to design a sustainable supply chain, etc. So the elements that we discussed in this particular topic were having localized suppliers means so that we have reduced um, transport, reduce fuel uses, etc., or reduce movement in general of our uh, supplied parts. Then renewable resource integration. So whether we can use renewable resources either in our logistics or whatever uh, components of our supply chain or key stakeholders in our supply chain, can they move to renewable energy consumption rather than being dependent on conventional electrical energy sources, etc. Then reverse logistics infrastructure, that we have to, if we have to have reverse logistics, then there is some kind of infrastructure requirement for that, how you are going to, how the customers can return to it, to your retailers, how the retailers can ship it back, etc. And can it be clubbed with your routine shipments to um, or stock filling operations, etc. That way we can think of. Some of the tools we can use for designing a sustainable supply chain network is simulation modeling, naturally scenario analysis. We can do what if analysis, like before actually doing means designing the sustainable supply chain. We can think of all the risks that can happen, all the disruptions that can happen, and accordingly to nullify them, we can create a sustainable supply chain. Also, we can, if we see that there are any risks also, how to avoid that, we can do a kind of simulation modeling also. The goal in for designing a sustainable supply chain is to create an agile, low impact and resilient network. So agile means flexible. So if, as we already spoke in our earlier sessions, that this is a book covered volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous. That means the customer requirements, the world in general is changing each day, each minute also we can say, and the customer requirements are also changing by that. So if I have to retain my customer, I have to fulfill his requirements, I have to be in touch with what is his current requirement is, and as his requirement is changing, I have to change my product and also supply my changed product or updated product to him, so that it satisfied the customer's new requirement. That is agility, flexibility. And also I have to ensure that while I make my supply chain agile and flexible, the impact of having such a supply chain is also minimized, and the supply chain becomes resilient. Resilient meaning it can absorb any supply chain disruption shocks. And even if there are any challenges because of supply chain disruptions, it can face those challenges and come out of that situation. Then our topic number 8 was measuring sustainable supply chain performance, which is again of very much importance in our journey towards sustainability, because the sustainable transformation, your supply chain transformation towards a sustainable supply chain is not going to be overnight. It is going to be step by step, phased manner, and it is going to take time. So in that time, how to keep track of where we are going? Are we on the right track or not? Are we achieving? Are we going to achieve our targets or not? Are there any changes required in our strategy, etc.? For all those decisions we can take, we can whenever we have data on where we stand. So if without that data, without that measurement of our current performance so far, we will not be able to decide, or we will be not be in a position to decide whether we are on the right track or not. And that is why measuring performance uh, of our sustainable supply chain is very important. So how do we measure performance? We have some kind of metrics or KPIs. Like for environmental metrics, we have carbon emissions, energy consumption, water use, etc. But we also have social metrics like fair wages, workplace safety, diversity. So diversity percentage related indexes you might have seen on LinkedIn. Workplace safety related incidents, how do we have had any workplace safety incidents, any hazards, etc. Fair wages meaning, are we how are we paying our human resources or compensating our human resources based on the industry benchmarks, etc., that you can measure. Environmental metrics, naturally carbon emissions, you can measure energy consumption, how much of energy units have you consumed in a month or per day or per product. That way you can do water uses, how much of water, how much liters of water you have used per unit production in your facility, and how much of that used water is natural or fresh water, or how much of it is treated water or recycled water, STP, sewage treated water, whether we have used that or not, how much percentage of that composition do we have, etc. So these are different metrics which will help you measure your performance of your sustainability initiative or the progress of your sustainability initiative. So there are some tools, frameworks which are readily available, which we also discussed, like ISO 14001 will give you some guidelines on that. Global Remit Reporting Initiative will give you some guidelines on what are the different metrics are being used for globally, so that you can align uh, on the reporting structure also. And CDP is carbon um, project, carbon disclosure project, meaning wherein you can, what if whatever consumption carbon emissions that you have, whether you if you want to declare that or measure that, etc., this particular project team will help you with that. And also they will provide you access to the current data that they have. So global reporting initiatives is will not just help you with deciding which metrics to follow, but it will also give you a guideline or idea on where do we stand. It will give you country-wise data. It will give you, continent-wise data, industry-wise data, etc. And accordingly, you can decide on your strategy for, you know, um, making a sustainable supply chain. Then, and benchmarking was another important parameter that we have. So what is benchmarking is like comparing yourself with against your competition or your industry standards, and you set that as a goal. If you're exceeding it, very good. You want to be ahead of that goal. But if you are not, then that becomes your target to achieve. So if if you do not have a global exposure, global visibility, etc., you for measuring performance also, you can start small by comparing against competitors or going through your industry standards, local industry standards for that matter. Then our next topic number 9, was supply chain in the energy sector, wherein we discussed the 4 broad stages in the supply chain of the energy sector, which included the supply stage, which is the where whether you are using fossil fuels for a conventional energy generation power plant, or you are using renewable sources. That was discussed, and what are the different sustainability concerns in that, what are the sustainability focus areas in that particular stages, this was also discussed. Then production stage, wherein electricity generation using these fuels is done, uh, using bioenergy is done, so, and even nuclear energy is done. So what are the concerns related to sustainability in that particular stage? We discussed that we want to increase the efficiency of the systems, we want to reduce emissions, we want to reduce wastage of the raw material that is being used there, etc. And we want to reduce the greenhouse gases emissions, etc. These were some of the challenges that we discussed under the production stage of a supply chain in the energy sector. Then end use stage, which is the consumption stage. So either consumption by transport, households, or industry. So what is the what are the key focus areas for sustainability in this particular stage, wherein we discussed behavioral change and equipment efficiency increase, etc. So behavioral change was the most important part, in this particular end use stage, wherein we want to be able to, we want to change basically our behaviors towards, lower energy consumption or uh, zero waste or low waste mindset. Then the last stage, the fourth stage for this particular supply chain in the energy sector was the disposal stage, wherein how we can handle the waste material or the byproducts which were generated in this energy production or energy generation process. Rupa, what are the challenges in that? Like we have technological limitations, we have difficulties in recovery of the materials. We could be recovering metals from PV panels is difficult, energy consuming. So similarly, battery recycling is also difficult and consumes a lot of energy. So for sustainability, the focus area in the supply chain of energy sector is decarbonization, energy security, resource recovery, etc. So one of the end use stage opportunity was having a network grid so that properly uh, load balancing is done, grid balancing is done so that we reduce the peak hour demand, etc. Then our last topic number 10 was sustainable supply chain best practices. So what are the we discussed around we discussed 10 best practices which can be your go-to guides to start on any sustainability related initiatives in your current corporate responsibilities. So some of the best practices I have mentioned here for quick recap are green procurement and supplier collaboration, definitely. Uh, Eco design and sustainable packaging. So, eco design, we discussed that, okay, we want to design our products in such a way that whatever material that is being used is degradable or has a low impact on the environment. Whatever processes that we are using to manufacture that product are energy efficient, they require less energy, etc. And the material that we are using to make any product that is degradable or recyclable easily, or the component or the product that we are manufacturing, it is easy to repair so that the life can be increased of the product, etc. And then sustainable packaging. Packaging is also a uh, largest, not largest, but one of the largest waste generating activity in any supply chain, because the raw material is going to come into some kind of packaging to your supplier. Your supplier is going to process it, again store it in some kind of packaging at his facility. Then he is going to process that raw material, turn into some small parts. Those small parts will get again packaged and come to you at your facility. Also, you will put them in some kind of packaging crates or any kind of trays. That is also a kind of packaging, form of packaging. Then once you finish your product or you manufacture your product, you will pack it and again ship it to the warehouse. So for transit shipment, like from your factory to warehouse, it is going to be a bulk packaging, a different packaging than the individual packaging, than the individual product packaging, right? Then the retailer is going to uh, sometimes they may pack it for the consumers to take it with at his home, and then the customer is going to discard. So every stage a different kind of packaging is being used, and that gets discarded once that stage is over. So if we want to make our supply chain as a whole as a sustainable, then packaging is one of the important practice. Sustainable packaging is one of the important best practice which we should focus on. Whatever packaging material that we have, can we make it recyclable? Can we make it degradable? Can we reduce the packaging material size, quantity, or overall weight, etc., so that the wastage is reduced while keeping the integrity, structural integrity, etc., uh, secured of the particular package. Then one of the best practices, renewable energy use, waste minimization, digital traceability systems either by using blockchain or any form of IoT devices. So some of the examples we discussed in this was IKEA's circular design model, wherein they are sourcing the wood for their furniture products from protected means designated sources, wherein they want to they ensure that these sources have minimum impact on the environment, and whatever processing they are doing on that wood in their factory, they want to reduce the waste that is being generated. They have their products designed in such a way that they generate less waste while they are being manufactured. And this waste which is getting generated, or even their returned products, they are again recycling them and reusing them in some or the other products that they have. Then Unilever's responsible sourcing program is there, specifically focusing on the palm oil production. So okay, so these were the total 10 topics that we went through. Now, the second part of our session is the global connection of sustainable supply chain. And under that, I wanted to cover the sustainable development goals, the 17 SDGs, which have been shared by United Nations in 2015 or 16, if I'm not wrong. So why are we discussing that? Those goals here is because we want, as a logistics and supply chain professional, we should be aware of what these sustainable development goals are, and because they are, as seen in the presentation, there are total 17 goals and total 169 targets which have been adopted by 193 countries. So it is kind of a global alignment or initiative wherein uh, 193 countries are aware of what these goals are, and they know and can work in unison. So if we have global supply chains, and if you want to start on any sustainability initiatives, I would want you to focus on your sustainability initiatives using these sustainable development goals, so that that helps you um, convince other stakeholders, and to take your message beyond boundaries. So this could be a good starting point for you to create a sustainable development initiative or a transformation initiative, and that's why these 17 goals I've mentioned here to you know make you understand or aware about what they are. So these sustainable development goals, United Nations says aim was to eradicate poverty, protect the planet, and ensure prosperity. And for that, they have come up with these 17 goals. And sustainable supply chain aligns with many SDGs, like mainly SDG 8, 9, 12, 13, and 17. But we'll go through all 17 SDGs and try to discuss individually how they are aligned with our, or how sustainable supply chain aligns with them. So, and these SDGs basically drive accountability and action beyond compliance, meaning it is not just some kind of standard which we have to follow, but it is a goal which drives accountability and action. That okay, and it is a great goal for a greater good. A social aspect is connected to it, and that's why it will drive accountability and action. So I have also mentioned or given the link here. I will quickly maybe show you before we start discussing our before we start discussing the individual goals. To share this. So if you click on that particular link, it will take you to this particular website of UN. UN's Department of Economic and Social Affairs, basically. Under Sustainable Development section, you will have a section for the Sustainable Development Goals. So you go to different tabs to understand what are the goals. So we'll go with Sustainable Development Goals. So the 17 goals, 69 targets, and what are the individual goals that you can understand from here in detail. Like goal one is no poverty, goal two is zero hunger, good health, quality education, gender equality. Then we have clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, then climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions and partnerships for the goals. So these are the 70 sustainable development goals. If you see whatever we have discussed so far in why is sustainability important and what is sustainable procurement, sustainable manufacturing, sustainable logistics, transportation, etc. What are the different aspects involved in sustainability, how we can ensure sustainability or contribute towards sustainability. So these 17 points in some or the other way we were discussed, like no poverty, zero hunger is societal, related to your community, related to having fair wages, etc. Ethical treatment, good health and well-being is related to your uh, say environmental health and safety policies in your organization, occupational health, etc., quality education, gender equality. So all these goals, in some or the other way, you will be touching whenever you work on any sustainability initiative. So that's why it is important for us to know and be aware about them. And these sustainable developments, the target is for 2030. So in these were adopted by all UN members in 2015. And in detail, if you go, like if you go through affordable and clean energy. If I click on this link, then the goal is to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. There are different related topics. There are various infographics, etc., given which you can go through. There are publications related to that particular goal and any new articles or news that you have. So this may not be of direct use for us, but yeah. There are different sections also, which if you want more information like chemicals and waste, we'll go to that and see what are the related SDGs. So okay, 12, it is related to SDG 12. So what is the description? What is waste? What is solid waste? What is radioactive waste? Are there events related to this topic, chemicals and waste? What are the publications for this? What are the documents available for this particular thing? Like summary of uh, is products harmful to health and environment. This is a general report. Then cooperative measures to assess and increase awareness of environmental effects related to waste. So these will give you direct initiatives which are already in place, how companies are doing it, how institutions are, or how countries are taking these initiatives ahead. So that will also give you some or the other idea, and you can take inspiration and ideas from that. Okay, we'll go back to our presentation. So I've shared this link in the presentation, or you can also Google UN SDGs and you can get access to the link. All right. So there are total 17 SDGs. So we'll try to go over one by one on what is it focusing on and how supply chains, a sustainable supply chain can, play a part in it and how it is related to sustainable supply chain. So first five sustainable development goals are social and equity focused goals. SDG 1 we saw was no poverty. So how a supply chain can sustainable supply chain contributes in this goal. Particular goal is it will yeah, sorry, I think my laptop hangs for a bit, but now. So, for the first sustainable development goal, which is no poverty. So, the goal is end poverty in all its forms everywhere. So, how it is relevant, how supply chain, sustainable supply chain is relevant to this particular goal is we help achieve that through fair wages and safe working conditions for all tiers of the supply chain by supporting local and smaller suppliers with capacity building, etc. We can help achieve this goal. We can create job opportunities through inclusive procurement, etc. So all through these initiatives, we can help achieve this particular goal, or we can have our initiatives. If we have such initiatives like these are linked, which can be linked to SDG 1. Then SDG 2 is zero hunger. So sustainable agricultural sourcing we have mentioned here. But the goal is to end hunger, achieve food security basically, and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture, like more towards organic farming or sustainable farming, etc. How sustainable supply chain is relevant here is we can we if we are into a agricultural uh, production or supply chain industry, then sourcing from sustainable and certified agriculture produces. We can have initiatives promoting climate resilient farming practices through agri supply chains, and we can reduce food waste through efficient inventory and logistics planning, etc. We can have some CSR initiatives around, food security if we are not into that particular industry, but definitely we can contribute towards food security or have some CSR activities in improving nutrition, malnourished children, etc. So those will be linked to your SDG 2, which is a zero hunger goal. SDG 3 is good health. Good health meaning good health and well-being. So the goal is to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all. So when we think of sustainable supply chain, it is not just for your own company or your own customer or your own employees, etc., but in general for all. The goal is to ensure healthy lives, and we want to promote health and well-being for everybody on this particular in our country or on our planet. So through sustainable supply chain, we ensure health and safety standards for workers in factories and warehouses. We avoid use of harmful chemicals in the products and packaging because we want to avoid. We want whoever is handling our product, whether it is either of my factory worker or some logistics person who is just handling my product. So I want to avoid the use of harmful chemicals so that there is no kind of health hazard or safety hazard for them. Then implementing ergonomic designs and safe working environments, etc. That will come through that will indirectly help me achieve the SDG 3. Then our SDG 4 is quality education. that is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning. So how we can do that? We cannot enter into education industry like we open schools, etc. But we definitely can provide skills training and awareness for our supply chain partners. We can do that. We can partner with our stakeholders, you know, take some training workshops for the our suppliers, maybe our customers, maybe our distributors, so that they have their they can hone their skills, and we can encourage supply development programs for SMEs or for any particular stakeholders in our supply chain, etc. We can support education initiatives in communities around the production hub. The basically, if we can have skill development programs for the local community, for the youth around your production facility, so that they can then get trained and get employed, etc. So that is also achievement of SDG 4, the goal of quality education. SDG 5, gender equality, so equal opportunities in procurement or in general in supply chain. So we want to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls in the uh, corporate world or in general in the world. So how we achieve this goal through sustainable supply chain is we promote gender inclusive hiring and supplier diversity programs, DEI initiatives you might have uh, heard about or read about, or even in your companies also you might have seen. So those are coming out of this SDG 5 of gender equality, supporting women-owned enterprises in procurement decisions. So you can have special quotas or an opportunity for women-owned enterprises to partner with you, etc. in your while you are taking your procurement decisions, and then you ensure equal pay, workplace safety for women in supply chain. It starts from your office, in your factory. You ensure that they have equal pay and also workplace safety related to women. So you have posh policy, you have special security in place for making women safe everywhere in your facility. And also you can have related training and development program or awareness program around gender equality. So that's how you can achieve your SDG 5, which is gender equality. SDG 6 to 10 and supply chain, how it is relevant. So SDG 6 to 10 focus on infrastructure, ethics, and labor. So we'll go through it one by one. SDG 6 is clean water. Clean water and sanitation is the goal, and we want to ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation. So we and as a part of sustainable supply chain, how can we help achieve this is we can reduce water usage and implement water recycling in manufacturing. So like I mentioned that we should measure how much of water are we using per unit product in our facility, and is it 100% fresh water, or can we use um, treated water or recycled water for some of the activities so that our dependence on the fresh water reduces? So that is on the input part, but also on the output part of our particular manufacturing life cycle is that we want to prevent the contamination of water sources through waste management. That whatever emittents that we have, whether it is soil emittent, pollutant, or air emittent or pollutant, or any particular form of liquid chemicals coming out of my factory as a waste or a byproduct, I want to ensure that I'm not contaminating the nearby water bodies or water sources around my facility with that particular waste. And for that, I need to have waste management plans. Waste management has to be done with focus. So through sustainable supply chain initiatives, I can achieve this goal and contribute to it by preventing contamination. Then monitor supplier water use and sanitation compliance. So I can do it for me. I can manage the water uses that I'm doing. I can manage the water contamination that I potentially can contribute to because of my operational wastes. But I also have to monitor my suppliers because sustainable supply chain, if we have to make, then all the partners of the supply chain have to work hand in hand. They have to collaborate with each other. So for each goal, it is not an individual activity. It is not an individual goal. It can be an accountability of the manufacturer or the producer, but that is a shared responsibility is shared. The ownership is also shared, and it because we want to make protect this environment, protect this planet for everybody, for our future generation. So that's why we all have to work together. So collaboration and cooperation is must, and that's why we whatever for whatever goals that we have discussed so far and that we are going to discuss uh, in the later slides, those are not just individual goals, but you as a part of your supply chain. So either you are a driver of your supply chain or a component of that supply chain, but you have to uh, you have to take up these sustainability initiatives in a way that you inspire the other stakeholders. And if you have control, then you can direct them also. And for that, you need to monitor whether they are following the guidelines given for sustainability, etc. or not. All right. Then SDG 7 is affordable energy. Use of renewables in manufacturing was one of the relevance that we can think. So the goal for SDG 7 is we want to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy. So affordable is like the energy costs should be reduced. Reliable meaning we have low power outages. We have uh, the quality of power, the power quality that we are supplying is of good. We have low voltage fluctuations, etc., because it damages equipments and generates a lot of waste, etc. Sustainable, that meaning the energy, the production that we have is done in more of a sustainable manner. So how sustainable supply chain is relevant here is we can contribute to this goal by transitioning to renewable energy sources in production and logistics. So in sustainable manufacturing, we had discussed that one of the parameters to look for is the energy consumption. Can we reduce the electrical energy consumption, or can we reduce the dependence on conventional energy sources and increase our dependence or increase consumption from the renewable energy sources, such as solar panels, such as your wind based windmill based energy generation sources, etc. So and in logistics we had discussed that can we transition our existing transport fleet from IC engine vehicles to electric vehicles or alternate fuel vehicles such as methanol, ethanol, etc., or hydrogen powered vehicles. If we are doing that transition, then we are reducing the dependence on fossil fuels. We are reducing the depletion of natural resources, etc. So, yeah, in a way, we are contributing to the SDG 7 of affordable and clean energy. Then, using energy efficient technologies and smart grids. By using energy efficient equipments, we will save um, energy wastage, right? By encouraging suppliers to adopt clean energy solutions, etc. Also, we can help achieve this target. Then our SDG 8 is decent work, ethical labor practices, audits, etc. So Decent work and economic growth is the goal, number eight. And the goal is to promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, employment, and decent work for all. So, how we can help achieve this target through sustainable supply chain is we can implement ethical labor practices across our supply chain, across all supply chain tiers. That means not just to our supplier, but tier two, tier three suppliers of our tier one supplier in our warehousing facility, in our distributors, at our retailers, if we are in a position to influence that. And by implementing these ethical labor practices, we will help promote basically an inclusive and sustainable economic growth, avoiding child labor, forced labor, and exploitation. Like I had given an example of children being used in cobalt mining. Uh, then you might have heard about forced labor or exploitation cases in some of the neighboring countries around India, etc. So we want to avoid those situations whenever we are selecting suppliers for our raw materials, etc. Right? Then we want to promote economic development through local supplier engagement. So if we work locally with our uh, local suppliers and not be dependent on global, there are benefits to it. That also, like the local um, development of the community happens economically. There is a lot of economic activity happening in the country. Then we have then the money going outside. So Make in India, etc., Atmanirbhar Bharat are some of the initiatives which are promoting local supplier engagement, etc. And that is uh, inspired in some way by the Sustainable Development Goal 8 of having decent work and economic growth. Then SDG 9, which is industry and innovation related goal. So sustainable technology deployment is something in the way that we can contribute with the help of sustainable supply chain. So the goal 9 is basically industry, innovation, and infrastructure related. And the goal is to build a resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industrialization, foster innovation, basically. So how we as a sustainable supply chain professionals contribute to this goal is we can invest in sustainable manufacturing technologies. We can design efficient logistics and infrastructure networks, and also support innovation in packaging, waste reduction, and supply chain digitization. SDG 10 is reduced inequalities. That is inclusive sourcing policies is relevance of supply chain. What is that is reduce inequalities, meaning reduce inequalities within and among countries. So that means we are not 100% dependent on one particular region or area or country for our raw material or as a market. So um, in general sense, this is also to avoid any kind of supply chain disruption because of having local sources or not local sources, but having uh, limited sources of raw materials or equipment. So how we can contribute towards achieving this goal is we can include marginalized groups or underrepresented regions in the supply chain, ensuring fair treatment and access to opportunities for all suppliers, supporting supplier diversity programs and ethical trade, etc. So we want to ensure that all us all types of suppliers or are getting equal opportunities. It should not be that a case that we only look for cost as a driver, and then only a particular region or a country is getting all the orders because of the low labor cost they have. But they might have low cost, but they do not have ethical treatment being given, fair wages being given. So that is not sustainable at all. So that's why we want to ensure. And also, if there is any geopolitical tension with that particular country, then our source gets cut off, and our supply chain gets halted. So that's why sustainable supply chain. Through sustainable supply chain, we want to ensure that our supplier base is diverse, and we have equal opportunities for all suppliers. So these are the five SDGs, SDG 6 to SDG 10, which focus on mostly on the infrastructure, labor, and ethics side. Then SDG 11 to SDG 15, which are more focusing on climate and environmental impact. So SDG 11 is sustainable cities and communities. So the goal is to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. So that is related to cities. How is sustainable supply chain related to that? And I think, yeah. So there are various examples we can think of, like sustainable supply chain will have urban distribution centers that minimize congestion and emission. So having your distribution centers in such a way that you minimize congestions, traffic congestion, emissions, etc. You have efficient reverse logistics for e-waste, packaging, and returns. And and sometimes you may have seen companies partner with the local municipal corporations or local government bodies in city-wide initiatives, maybe clean city, green city, zero waste, waste collection, etc. Some initiatives you might have seen that many corporates or companies uh, partner with the city governing bodies. So that is also how you can help achieve or contribute to this goal, SDG 11 of sustainable cities and communities. So if you are currently working, you can think of what wherever you are working, what can you as a company do for this particular city or this community, and then start then discuss with the local community, local governing body on how you want to contribute. And there could be an initiative like in Pune, if you have seen the garbage collecting um, equipment is donated by the Poonawalla group, and they have partnered with the Pune Municipal Corporation, and there they um, train the employees. They give them safety gear like gloves, etc., uniforms, and also the equipments, and they also maintain the equipment. So you as a company also can contribute in this way towards achieving this SDG 11 of making cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Then SDG 12 is responsible consumption and production. That means ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. So we in sustainable supply chain, in specifically to the supply specific to the discussion that we had during the energy sector supply chain, we spoke about reducing the environment, reducing the uh, natural resources depletion. So that means the consumption or the production that should be sustainable. That we should not, um, you know, take out everything. and then create products, and then it is just going to scrap and of no use. Sustainable consumption and production is that the rate of consumption, rate of production should be sustainable. That means it should not uh, empty the source fast, and we have ample resources available for our future generations. So, how sustainable supply chain can help us achieve this target? Some of the ideas could be designing products, or some of the aspects which are related to this particular SDG is designing products for reuse, recycling, reduced material use, like the material that you total material that you are using to create that product, you reduce that quantity also. Then encouraging customers to return or recycle products by ensuring that you have the reverse logistics channel available. And then also, if you want to see whether the production was sustainable or not, you would have to do the environmental life cycle assessment to see, to first measure what is the um, overall impact on the environment, or any other factors or any other goal or any other scope that you decide throughout the life cycle of your product. So that will start with product stewardship. Basically, you take on the responsibility of complete life cycle of your product and how it gets the raw material gets sourced, from where it is sourced, etc. So you cannot control that from where it is sourced, but you can control from where does your supplier buy from. To that source you can you know select. So that way you use life cycle assessment to understand which is the area which is having the maximum negative impact on the environment, all or for that matter sustainability, and then accordingly have some action plans for that. So that is responsible consumption and production, SDG 12 goal. Then SDG 13 goal is the climate action, wherein we want to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. So climate change, we all have seen and are experiencing the changes in the weather patterns, how in summers the summers are getting extreme, monsoons are getting irregular. We have rains almost in every month now, which was not the case in some or the other part of the country. And also the winters are getting extreme in India specifically, if we speak about. So these are nothing but the impacts of climate change. We see the impact on agricultural production because of this. We see flash floods, more situations and news about floods these days than earlier. So all are the impacts of climate change, and that's why taking urgent action to combat climate change and its impact is the necessity. And this necessity is not just for um, leaving a better planet for our future generations also, but it is a requirement for us to survive today. So as as a sustainable supply chain professional, how I can contribute to this SDG 13 goal is, we can reduce carbon footprint across supply chain operations. We can invest in low carbon transportation and production, setting and achieving science-based emission reduction targets, meaning whatever um, targets also that uh, we set up for any of our sustainability initiatives, we need to make sure that those are achievable, and it is should not be just that they're just for show off. We have decided to work on these initiatives also. There should be some real base to put that particular target on how we have come up to this particular value, and how do we actually um, plan to achieve that target, etc. So, reducing carbon footprint throughout the supply chain operations, and investing in low carbon transportation, etc. So, and reducing energy uses, reducing waste generation, etc. So all these things, in some or the other way, are going to contribute towards combating climate change, and we have to give it a focus, I would say. Life below water, SDG 14, which is conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources. So if you are in the shipping industry or marine resource processing or fish related industry, then directly you can contribute to this goal. But indirectly, how can we contribute through sustainable supply chain? Is we can eliminate single-use plastics and microplastics in packaging, because those pollute the oceans, the water bodies, and also have a very negative impact on the mm, life below water. Then managing ocean logistics responsibly. So we want to avoid cases of oil spills. Uh, we want to avoid the losses incurred um, during the uh, sea shipments, etc., because those uh, negatively impact the water bodies. And also, we want to avoid water pollution through safe waste disposal. So, whatever marine products that we are using, marine food products, if we are using, we want to also limit the consumption, limit the production. That meaning you might have read about uh, sharks being hunted for the shark fin soup in Japan or in Southeast Asia. Then in some countries whales are in specifically in China, they hunt whales, but uh, in the amount of whales or sharks they hunt is because they have ended up making them endangered species or something like that. They have reduced the numbers so much that that has impacted the whole food chain under the life in the life below water um, totally, and that has a negative impact on um, the oceans. SDG 15 is life on land, so like life underwater. We also have to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems. So, how sustainable supply chain helps us achieve that? Uh, what we can do is we can avoid sourcing from deforested areas or conflict zones. We promote biodiversity through sustainable land use practices. We support reforestation and ecosystem restoration efforts. So, as a company, we can definitely contribute to such reforestation initiatives or ecosystem restoration efforts by partnering with related NGOs, etc., and contribute to this SDG 15, Life on Land, which the goal is to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem. Now, we have two Sustainable Development Goals 16 and 17, which is related to governance and collaboration. So, SDG 16 is peace, justice, and strong institutions. The goal is to promote peaceful and inclusive societies, access to justice, and strong institutions. But how is it related to supply chains? A sustainable supply chain will ensure anti-corruption practices in procurement. We spoke about that, right? In sustainable procurement. It will promote transparency, traceability using technology, uh, blockchain, and also by respecting international labor rights and regulations and following them. So, in sustainability, we had discussed the three pillars. So, one of the pillars was social sustainability aspect or the people aspect. So that specific to that particular aspect, this goal SDG 16 is there, that peace, justice, and strong institutions are there. That and the goal is to promote peaceful and inclusive society. So we, uh, as a sustainable supply chain professionals, we want to ensure that we have anti-corruption practices, we have fair, wages, we have uh, we follow the labor rights and regulations that are being there. We have um, occupational and safety hazards being looked at as per the regulations and as per the requirement of the employees, etc. Then SDG 17 is partnerships for the goals. So the goal is to strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize global partnerships. So basically, their goal is this goal is basically that for the remaining 16 goals, to achieve that, we partner with the team. That is the goal, because and that is how important collaboration with stakeholders is. That they have given a specific goal, that to in order to achieve that, the remaining goals, you have to work on this goal first, that you have to partner, you strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize global partnerships. So how sustainable supply chain professionals can contribute to achieving this goal? We can collaborate with NGOs, governments, and other businesses. We can participate in pre-competitive alliances and multi-stakeholder initiatives. Like pre-competitive alliances meaning, pre-competitive alliances means that we our competitors, we before going into the market, like in the market we compete with each other, but before that, while we are making the product, while we are sourcing, can we make an alliance with them, can we partner with them, then sharing knowledge and data for the greater impact and progress. So one of the measurement or performance metric uh, source I had given was carbon disclosure project, CDP, or you have Global Reporting Initiative, GRI. So these are nothing but platforms for sharing knowledge and data for greater impact and progress. So wherein if you have taken up some kind of sustainability initiative and you are succeeding in that, achieving those goals and targets, you want to share that information and knowledge with the world, so that other companies can then follow your path towards sustainability. Hmm? How sustainability, uh, sustainable supply chain is related to this sustainable development goals we tried to touch upon, and I hope uh, I have made some sense to you on why we need we should be aware about what these 17 sustainable development goals are, and how we can contribute towards achieving them. Some of the topics will have direct mapping, like topic 3 is directly mapped to SDG 5, 8, 10. Topic 5 is 9, 12, 13. Topic 9 is 7, 13. This is just for your information. There is nothing specific that we should learn here, but it is just that how they are mapped directly. I could find a relation between these two SDGs, but overall, all the 17 SDGs we can make an attempt to achieve or contribute by through making our supply chains sustainable. Definitely, each and every sustainable development goal we touch whenever we work upon our supply chain. So, how SDGs alignment is in practice? These are some 4 examples, like Unilever SDG 2, 12, 13. They are contributing to by through sustainable agricultural and emissions reduction. Apple is contributing towards SDG 9 and 12 by having circular design and device recycling. Nestle contributes to SDG 6 and 15 by conserving water in their operations. Then Tata Group contributes to SDG 7, 8, 13 by using renewable energy and local job creation, etc. These are some of the examples. conclusion. So this is the conclusion slide. Uh, what basically we want to achieve by understanding what is sustainable supply chain and how to transform our existing supply chain into sustainable supply chain by understanding all these topics, all these tools, all these frameworks, all these techniques, all these challenges, all these opportunities, etc. so far that we have discussed in the 10 topics is because sustainable supply chain is not only just good for your business uh, or for yourself, but it is essential for planet and people. So, meaning it is not an optional thing going ahead. The impact of climate change we already discussed some time ago, and the impact of that on the pricing, on the standard of living in the people's life, resource depletion, etc. These are real problems, real challenges that we are facing today, and we want to ensure that our future generations do not face that. And also, we want to ensure that we today are able to survive in these tough situations. So that's why sustainable supply chain is not an option anymore. It is a must, and we have to make sure that um, with uh, our understanding, with your knowledge, with your expertise or awareness about this particular subject, we inspire and motivate others, yeah, by starting in our own company towards achieving sustainability targets. So this will also be an additional thing that you work alongside your own development or your professional development in your career, etc. But you should also have some sustainability related personal targets in your yearly performance targets, so that based on that you start some a chain reaction in your company or in your organization if not already there. So companies that integrate the best practices of sustainable supply chain also advance sustainable development targets. So what is how the sustainable development targets are relevant or related to sustainable supply chain, we have discussed for each goal. So if we integrate these best practices of the sustainable supply chain, we are indirectly contributing towards achieving the sustainable development goals. So future professionals and leaders must be equipped to make sustainable decisions. They should drive innovation with a purpose and faster collaboration for a better world. So that's why this topic of sustainable supply chain has been included in your syllabus, and it is not just a subject that you can read and forget. And I feel uh, initially or for now, the awareness may not be there with many of you. So this can serve as an awareness session or subject for you. But what I would request you is to please take this particular subject ahead by reading more about it, by sharing more information about it, and more importantly, take on sustainability initiatives in your own work environment at your own home. Start by saving electricity, saving energy wherever possible, saving fuel, saving water. Try to use recycled water in your facilities, in your societies, in your house. Try to, use more and more renewable energy. Try to see if you can install solar panels in your factory, in your facilities, at your home, if not already done, and become a electricity producer from being a electricity consumer, and see if you can if you are working in logistics. I want you to check if you can transform your fleet to electric vehicles. If not, can you switch it to alternate vehicles? If not, can you see if you already have uh, an efficient route optimization method or process which also includes load optimization or not. So you start small, you start saving energy yourself, you start saving water yourself, start using recycled water yourself, and then you by doing that you inspire others and motivate others also. All right, so this concludes our session number 6, which was the last session of this subject, sustainable supply chain, wherein we had a brief recap of topics 1 to 10. We discussed some key models, tools, and best practices, and also how we tried to explore and relate how sustainable supply chain supports the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. So once again, I will just take you through this some of these links which I had uh, shared with, starting with the UN SDG. Then GRI also I spoke global reporting. Then CDP was the carbon disclosure project. Yeah, and CDP was there. Then yeah, let's take you through their websites. Sharing my screen now. So first is this UN SDGs, the 17 goals. So I want you to explore their websites, to the implementation progress. You'll have some guidelines, you'll have the history of so far, whatever has happened till date, what is the progress. So they have yearly progress reports for their sustainable development goals. And you also have a lot of material which will help you, generate go on designing any sustainability initiative. GRI is the global reporting initiative which we discussed. So they have their standards and they also support you for reporting. It is like how actually you report it. What is GRI? It is an independent non-for-profit organization that leads a global multi-stakeholder process to develop and refine rigorous yet practical sustainability reporting. Okay. So what are the standards? So you have uh, there are various standards related to um, in various languages, disclosures related to oil and gas sector, to coal sector, agriculture, aquaculture and fishing sectors, mining sectors, etc. So you can get these standards and let me see if you can, like procurement practices if you want to see. Okay, they're asking me to register, but check. All right. Market presence, procurement practices, anti-corruption related, anti-competitive behavior, tax, materials, energy, etc. So they have these standards and they also provide you support with reporting that how, uh, you know, what tools you can use, and if you need any support with that, that also will be uh, given to you. This is then CDP. CDP is this climate disclosure. Yeah. So this is the 25th year for them, and what they do is you have to they basically give you a questionnaire, and they will report. Uh, they will generate a kind of a rating for you, wherein you can uh, disclose the data related to whatever you are means emitting, whatever you are consuming, etc. That way. And then because of this, why this disclosure is required, because that's how we as a whole world will know that what is our emission, what is our waste generation in this particular, how much of a greenhouse gas has been emitted, etc. So that all we can only get to know if we disclose that particular data. Then MSCI is one of the index, which, but this is more of the related to investments area, I would say, because this is like the economic sustainability aspect, you can say, but you have various indexes here. Can go through that based on climate, market cap, fixed income, sustainability. So if I click on sustainability, uh, what are the featured index? Green Universal Index, okay. Yeah. Universal Index for each particular country they have mentioned. We have the World Universal Select Index. Does it have data? Yeah. ESG metrics. So here we are seeing who are the rating related to environment, like policy risk, technology opportunity, climate, physical risk, climate, etc. So reported emissions, estimated emissions, weighted average carbon intensity, fossil fuel reserves, green revenue, green capex, green bonds, etc. So based on these various factors, they compare. So that was environmental. What is social? Factors like tobacco involvement, social violations, lack of due diligence policy, gender pay gap, male board, female to male board diversity ratio, recordable injury rate, bribery and corruption controversies. These are under the social rating. Governance, what is covered under governance? Broad board gender diversity, board independence, etc. So based on these, they will compare companies, and these are also some of the indexes that you can refer to whenever you want to discuss and